It's Tuesday, you know what that means. Another week of the new CFP college football playoff rankings. And for our Miami Hurricanes, we have jumped another one spot in this ranking, jumping Utah and staying ahead of Vanderbilt, jumping up to that number 12 spot, which is the supposed to be the cutoff to get into the playoffs. But of course, we're probably not going to win our conference game. There's going to be a G5 conference winner. So in order for us to get the at-large bid, which we're most likely to get, then the conference championship, we have to be in most likely a top 10 seed. So this is another step closer. Of course, you ideally want to get into 10 or 11, get compared to Notre Dame, and of course jump those sorry ass fucking Catholics that we should have been ahead of. But that's besides the point. This is, in my opinion, the number 12 spot was the most realistic spot we would see Miami coming into this week be ranked, because I thought there was a real shot they would be Vanderbilt will be re-ranked ahead of Miami after having a very dominant win over Kentucky, which, just like Virginia Tech, is not that good. They just had the dominant win, and the SEC, a bad SEC team is going to be looked at as better than a bad ACC team. So I really thought there was a shot at Vanderbilt being into that number 12 spot, but no, they kept Miami ahead of Vanderbilt. They did jump Vanderbilt over Utah, which I thought Miami better have been ahead of Utah, because if they were not, we would have caused a riot, because there's no way you almost lose to a 5-5 team and get embarrassed on the ground by a 5-5 team, and you're still ahead of Miami. So they did the right thing. They kept Utah. They sent them to the back of the line within that 12, 13, 14 cluster, and Miami's now number 12 in leading that cluster. So the only thing in front of us separating us from that 10 spot is BYU at 11 and 10 Alabama. So we're closer. It's closer. This is the most realistic. This was the best outcome when you thought realistically. Now, if you want to think unrealistically and your hopes and your dreams, it would be jumping Notre Dame, but this is the most realistic outcome. Jumping another spot, jumping ahead of Utah, and staying ahead of Vanderbilt, which the AP poll had Vanderbilt ahead of us. They jumped Vanderbilt ahead of us. They put Utah behind us, which I thought the CFP could have really had the opportunity to make sense of mimicking that. They probably should have, but guess what? We still had the best wins between those three teams. We had the best win, Notre Dame, over those three teams. Vanderbilt hasn't beat anybody. They beat LSU. They stink. Utah has beat an ASU team that just became ranked, and they're on a backup quarterback. So we should be ranked ahead of those two teams. But now we still have work to do. We still have more things that we need to happen, and we'll go over the rankings a little bit later in this video. But here's the new CFP poll right here. As you can see, so Miami jumped a spot. Utah, no, they kept Vanderbilt at 14. What am I saying? Utah is actually ahead of Vanderbilt, which is insane still, in my opinion. Vanderbilt probably should be ahead of them, but that's besides the point. As you can see, so Miami 12, BYU 11, 10 Alabama, 9 Notre Dame, 8 Oklahoma. They kept all those the same. Ole Miss is number 7. They dropped a spot after Oregon got an impressive win. I guess you can say impressive. It was impressive. They're still a ranked team. I don't think they're anything too good. They're trying to fire their coach, USC. But Oregon, I guess you could say, is now a good team, even though I still think they're not as good as some of these teams, as Ole Miss and Notre Dame. I mean, I don't think Oregon's that good, but they finally got the win that they can hang their hats on, so they were jumped Ole Miss. They're number 6, and then the rest stays the same, basically. Texas Tech, Georgia, Texas A&M, Indiana, and Ohio State. But another major movement that we have to watch out as Miami Hurricanes fans is this Michigan team. This Michigan team, number 15, they jumped 3 spots after beating Maryland. I think they're just trying to hype up this Ohio State-Michigan game to where they could set up Michigan if they win to put them in, because it'll be tough to put them in from 18. If they kept them at 18, it would be tough for them to put in Michigan. But I mean, I guess you could say Michigan number 15, Ohio State number 1. If they win, they're in. They're beating. That's the best win anyone will have all season, is beating a number 1 Ohio State team. Question mark on a number 1 Ohio State team. Who have they played? Seriously, I mean, who they number 16 Texas? You kidding me? It should be Texas A&M or Indiana should be number 1, but that's besides the point. That would be the best win anyone has all season. So you gotta hope for Ohio State to win if we're hoping for that at-large bid as Miami Hurricanes fans. Texas number 16, USC dropped down to 17. As you can see, what's good is SMU is now number 21 and Pitt's number 22. So the SMU loss is no longer the bad loss. It's now the Louisville loss. They changed their narratives, guys. They changed their narrative. Louisville's now the bad loss. SMU is now the decent loss. Still, whatever. It's fucking idiots. Don't know anything about the ACC. Don't watch the ACC. They don't know anything. Also, we have Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt plays Tennessee this week, so we should be hoping for Tennessee, because if they get a ranked win, of course, and look good over Tennessee, a SEC team, look, things can happen. Things can truly happen. But as you can see, what to hope for. So we want to get into that top 10 seed. And in order to get into the top 10 seed, in my opinion, we have the teams 7 through 11. They don't all have to fall out, but we're going to need some help from those teams. Maybe 6, maybe. But Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, and BYU. I think we need 2 of those teams to lose, in my opinion, this week, or even their conference week. I think if BYU loses and gets beat bad conference week, then there's a conversation that we should be at number 11. Miami should be, and we have to handle Pitt. Number 22 Pitt, we handle Pitt. That's a different. We'll say that in a second. But so here's the CFP schedule. If you could see that, so we need Michigan to lose, because we don't want them to have any chance of jumping us. BYU plays UCF. UCF is awful. They're going to get handled by BYU. They should get handled by BYU. But here's the team. Oklahoma, 2-loss team right here. So if they lose, they get another loss. We definitely should be ranked ahead of them. Or that should just shift everybody up in the rankings 1. And then that would shift Miami up in the rankings 1, which would be clutch and possibly elevate us into the top 10 seed, or even elevate us into the 11 seed, which now we can finally be in the cluster as Notre Dame. Fucking idiot cluster been made up by the CFP shit mini. They came up with some other garbage today also. I'll explain that in a second. But Oklahoma, if they lose to LSU, Garrett Nussmeier's probably not going to play. It's going to be the new Van Buren dude. I think he came from JMU. And he team's bad. They won 13-10 to Western Kentucky. Couldn't move the ball. It was a punt fest. They're not going to win. Oklahoma's going to handle them. Tennessee, Vanderbilt. I think Tennessee's good. I think their offense is good. They just can't beat tough teams, which is Vanderbilt. I guess you could say is a tough team. But Vanderbilt doesn't have any true wins to prove it also. So I think Tennessee's going to get it back at this rivalry game at home. Virginia, that's for ACC computations. Alabama, Auburn. We need Alabama to possibly lose this game. Anything can happen. Jordan-Hare Stadium's cursed when it comes to Alabama games. So anything can happen. We need Alabama to drop this one, and that would really help us elevate us possibly into the CFP. And then Notre Dame, Stanford sucks. We saw that happen. We saw what happened. Even though they beat Cal, Notre Dame's going to beat them probably bad and make it even worse and rub it in. And CFP is going to rub it in some more. But other than that, that's the schedule. So I just went over what we need to happen for the at-large bid. But also, I want to say, so we have Pittsburgh coming up. Miami Hurricanes, Pittsburgh, big game, 12 noon, Saturday on rivalry week. Even though it's really not a rivalry, it should probably, maybe 2017 haunts me still. That's a big game. But I want to clear something up. That it shouldn't matter, because I know the CFP next Tuesday, if Miami doesn't beat Pitt by the same amount that Notre Dame beat Pitt, it's going to be a whole hoax, a whole thing, but it shouldn't matter. If we win, we win. It's another ranked win, and we'll have more ranked wins, or we'll have this better ranked record. We're both, Miami and Notre Dame are both 2-2 when it comes to ranked opponent schedule. Ranked opponent record, I meant. And if we beat Pitt, that would make us 3-2. So we'll have a better, I don't care how Notre Dame beat Pitt and they smoked them by 30 and blah, blah, blah. Pat Narduzzi said before the game he doesn't give a shit about the game. It's not like he said it after. He said it before. We don't play this game. You know why? Because Notre Dame has an advantage over every single other team. Not only they have an advantage over every single other team in college football besides UConn. That when they play, it doesn't matter that much because it's not a conference game. When they play these ACC teams, it doesn't matter because it's not a conference game. Just like when they played Pitt, a team looking to get into the playoffs, they know their only path is through the ACC championship. So why should they give all their effort into beating Notre Dame just because it's Notre Dame? Okay, you could say, yeah, you try to win every game, but Notre Dame is not a conference game, and they're playing them this late in the season. They have an advantage. Miami's going to get the best of Pitt at home because they care. This is their game. If they win, they're in. Notre Dame, there's no type of pull, no type of strings attached, no type of nothing. There's no type of substance to Notre Dame versus Pitt 2 weeks ago, and that's why it was probably dominant. I don't want to hear next week when Miami handles Pitt, they didn't beat them by as much as Notre Dame beat them. We beat Notre Dame. They should have no say in anything. They should be lucky. Lucky. I come in here saying they're lucky week after week, being ranked number 9. But guess what? We just have to have things fall our way. We just have to have things fall our way as Canes fans. It's unfortunate, but that's just a reality. It is. Um, and hopefully they do. I think there's a chance they will. Of course, rivalry week, someone's gonna slip. Now, who is it? Is it gonna be? Hopefully, it's Ole Miss with the Lane Kiffin thing going on. With Lane Kiffin possibly leaving after this game being announced, and hopefully they have a chip on their shoulders. Lane Kiffin leaves, and they get dropped, especially coming off a loss. They lose, and Lane Kiffin leaves. They get dropped even more. Oklahoma, hopefully they lose to LSU some way somehow. Notre Dame, Stanford, they're not going to lose. Alabama, hopefully lose to Auburn some way somehow. And Oregon, they play Washington. Maybe if they have 2 losses, they don't look impressive against Washington. Maybe they get dropped some way somehow. And BYU, UCF, that's nothing's going to happen there. But other than that, that's what I'm saying. Also, CFP committee, man. Joey Galloway. This guy sounds like a complete fucking bitch. I don't care. I don't give a shit about. I talk shit about all these people. I don't care. What am I? I'm 2 subscribers. No one gives a shit. This guy is a complete idiot. A complete idiot. Just straight up hating on Miami the whole show. He made me walk out. I didn't watch the rest of it because he was hating on Miami the whole show. The whole show, talking about how Virginia Tech. Here's a clip. I'm going to play a clip for you.
They won the game. They added a touchdown at the end that was meaningless, so it's called a 10-point win. To see them move up, this is setting up the conversation everybody's been wanting to have. Can they get close enough to Notre Dame to get them in the same grouping when we're comparing these teams? Very interesting move to see them move up one.
Very interesting move. We deserve to move up one. We were ranked ahead of Vanderbilt, and we stood ahead of Vanderbilt, and Utah barely won against a bottom feeder team in the Big 12. Get out of here. And it was basically a 10-point win. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Basically a 10-point win while the announcers are talking about style points. Style points means points that don't matter. They just make things look better. So you're telling me the announcers are talking about style points, but now, according to you, style points don't count. They don't count. So what do you call the points that Notre Dame scored after they went up 21-0 to Syracuse? Are you kidding me? This guy sounds like an idiot. Just a Notre Dame homer. He went to Ohio State. I don't even know what connection he has. I don't know what connection he has. He's a fucking idiot. An complete idiot. We beat them. We beat them. If we're in the same comparative pool, the made up comparative pool, we should be ahead of them. But we're not in the made up comparative pool yet. And Heather Dinich was even talking about how even if we are in the same comparative pool, that doesn't mean we're automatically going to be put ahead of them because the committee has eyes. Well, the committee doesn't have eyes, because if they had eyes, they would have watched the game on August 31st at 7:30 p.m., where at Hard Rock Stadium, the Miami Hurricanes beat the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. If they had eyes and they had a brain and they had a memory, they would remember that game. So I don't want to hear the committee they have eyes and they think Notre Dame looks better than Miami. They didn't look better after a whole offseason. Miami had a whole offseason. Notre Dame had a whole offseason. They came into that game. They knew both teams were good. They knew what they had. They had CJ Carr at quarterback, Jeremiah Love at running back. We had Carson Beck. We had everybody else. We lined up on the field. We played the game, and we won the game. We were damn near up 21 in the fourth quarter. We're up 21-7 in the fourth quarter. They came back. They made it nice, but we won at the end because we were the better team. Okay, it doesn't matter what they look like now. Guess what? They're over here beating up on teams that don't care to play them. They're beating up on teams that are all out of their conference. They're beating up on teams that suck. They don't got one good win besides USC. USC just lost to Oregon. USC sucks. USC wants to fire Lincoln Riley. They're not good. USC beats up on bottom feeders. That's the only reason. They don't have a good win themselves. So I don't want to hear this. I don't understand the Notre Dame ranking ahead of us, but also I don't want to hear these people talking about it like we shouldn't be ranked ahead of them and defending Notre Dame. There's no defense against Notre Dame. They lost. They lost to Texas A&M in Miami, and they're being credited for losing to Miami more than Miami's being credited for beating them. Simple. It's simple. It's simple. And Jeremiah Love, oh, he's looking good now. CJ Carr looked good against Miami. I could tell you CJ Carr was going to be a really good quarterback when Miami played them because I have eyes. And it was his first start didn't mean anything. He played good. He wasn't the reason they lost that game. The reason they lost that game is because we absolutely shut down the now that they're playing shit competition, the now Heisman candidate running back, Jeremiah Love. We shut him down. We shut him down. And that's why we won that game. That's simple. And he's the reason they're looking good now. We shut them down. And you line up on a field again, I'll put $1 million on Miami if I could. $1 million. But I just go on a tangent. Miami number 12 in the rankings. Realistically moved up. This is the most realistic, the best that it could have played out. But of course, we would have loved for them to finally jump into the top 10, but they had the opportunity to do it this week. That's all I got for you. I got a little rant, schedule overlook, and some Miami Hurricanes opinions. So just subscribe. If you I gave you a little bit, subscribe, because this channel is growing a little bit, and I like it. I like to see it. You came this far, why not subscribe? It costs nothing. It's just a button. Click it, please. Click the like button if you can, if you're capable, if you have working fingers. And thank you for watching. Canes number 12, and as always, let's go Canes.